Hi, I'm Lita Leapin.
And I'm Jim Gordon.
And welcome to a new edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, folks, we are back in a very familiar space here on Granville Island. But Lita, we're in a very specific part of Granville Island.
Yes, we are. We are in Ron Basford Park. That's what's behind us. But in front of us, which you can't see right now, is Performance Works.
One of the great venues here on Granville Island. What are we doing on Granville Island? Well, we will tell you after you watch this, but here's a hint. Might have something to do with this.
This segment is brought to you by the Vancouver International Jazz Festival, kicking off summer in the city for 40 years.
Well, I am on Granville Island, and behind me, Ron Basford Park. But I am here with Nina Horvath. She is the Executive Director of Coastal Jazz Society, and we're here to talk about your big event, the Vancouver International Jazz Festival, which is in its 40th year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've done some beautiful things, and you've been with them since 2021. It's just, what a great event here in Vancouver. We're gonna jump in and talk about, well, why we're on Granville Island, one of your most enduring partners, about some of the event venues here on Granville Island.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Granville Island's been with us pretty much since the very beginning of this festival. They're one of our biggest and strongest partners, and we've got 3 different venues on the island this year that we'll be activating for the 10 days of the festival. I think there's a little over 40 different concerts of music, with everything from free to pay what you can to ticketed events.
Wonderful. Well, let's break down the venues. We're staring at Performance Works. Why don't we start with that one?
Yeah, we're sitting on the steps that are right outside Performance Works. If you came here in the afternoon, you'd be able to sit here in the sun and listen to the music through the open garage windows. So it's a really beautiful spot to take in some music in the afternoon. You can hear a lot of up-and-comers in Canadian jazz or touring musicians who are coming through the area. And then we also continue into the evening with this venue, and that's when we do a lot of our ticketed events. Some of our really popular shows happen here with kind of more, a little bit bigger names in jazz. It also can be a really great place to see some people who are kind of just on the cusp of making it really big in the scene. Got somebody like a Nubia Garcia from the UK who's already won their equivalent of the Polaris Prize called the Mercury Prize, really well recognized as an up-and-coming saxophone player. Or if you like more blues style music, you can come check out Delon Lamar. And then we've got the great Canadian jazz artist Christine Jensen closing out the whole festival on the 30th.
Wonderful. Okay, so next step, cross the island?
Yeah, so what we like to do is try and make it so you can have an entire day of jazz on the island. So once you're done here, you can go and walk over to Ocean Artworks, which is our outdoor venue, sort of like an outdoor beer garden pub area. It's got beautiful shade, nice vibe, just near the market. And we like to keep that as a real fun party. So you'll get everything from jazz to blues to more sort of R&B and funk there. We even progress into DJs late at night that we program with some of our partners. So it's a really fun place to come and explore and hang out with your friends. Come here, after dinner for a while and hang out and listen to some music.
Sounds perfect. And the final one?
The final one is the review stage. This is a little more of a traditional sort of soft seat theater space. It's a really nice small theater, so like every seat is a good seat inside there. And this is where we put our artists who are really pushing those edges of experimentation and coming up with new and exciting sounds and grooves within jazz. We'll often pair a lot of our visiting European artists there with some of our local artists. And you get these exciting, like lightning in a bottle moments of improvisation. That's one of the most interesting things, I think, unique things you can get in a jazz festival.
Wonderful. And it's 10 days. It's June 20th to July 1st.
That's right.
What's happening on Canada Day?
Yeah, so we're back on Canada Day this year, which is exciting. We're going to have programming at Ocean Artworks, I think starting at 1 p.m. and going all the way into the evening. 4 different shows of completely free music. It's going to be supporting some of the other Granville Island Canada Day programming going on.
And I love that you're making the Jazz Fest and music accessible. There's a lot of pay as you can. You can check out all the guides in the 40th year. keepable guide here.
Absolutely.
And of course, you can get a
Yeah, that's your
guide.
handy pocket guide. You can throw that in the back of your back pocket
Yeah.
and carry that around with you so you know exactly what's going on during the festival.
fantastic.
It's a huge priority for us to keep things free and accessible. It's always been a big part of the ethos of the festival. And so we have over 50 free shows, several that are pay what you can, and a lot of them that are also still like Ocean Artworks at night is a $15 at the door. So we try and keep it affordable as much as we can.
And speaking of affordable, you have a 50-50 raffle that is ongoing right now, so people can win big money, but also
Absolutely.
support such a great event.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously 50% of the proceeds go towards Coastal Jazz. We can't make this accessible without the support of our donors and our grant people, our partners and sponsors. So we're tremendously grateful for that. So people can always head to coastaljazz.ca or any of our socials, Coastal Jazz, check out the 50-50 and check out what's coming up.
And help support
You bet.
keeping this great event here in Vancouver, what we're so proud to have. Thanks, Nina.
Thank you.
Again, you can find out more information by going to coastaljazz.ca for all the information, all the guides. Print yourself a guide or pick one up. I'm sure these are distributed all around. So thanks for joining us on Our City tonight, and we're so excited for this Jazz Fest coming up.
This segment was brought to you by the Vancouver International Jazz Festival, kicking off summer in the city for 40 years.
Well, our next guest really is an example of that old adage that if you can find something you love to do and make a living at it, you will never work a day in your life. Our guest is right beside me here. It's Jim, I'll say James Jim Hibbard, who has, oh boy, what a career. He has been he is a choreographer, a dancer, a writer, a teacher. He can add author now with this book. It is called Can't Stop Dancing, and he is joining us right here, right now. As I said, you're an example of that. Find something you love, and you'll never grow old, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. You find it's not work.
Yeah.
You play.
Yeah.
And you have a good time all the time.
It is really interesting. I really enjoyed this book because, I said to you earlier, getting good parents is a life lottery. You grow up in Idaho, not exactly dance territory, but you've got a really supportive mother. I sense maybe a father that doesn't quite understand what you want to do, but is going to get money together somehow to get you going on your way. What a gift that must have been. It really must have helped you move along.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I call my mother my first and everlasting angel because she made it possible for me to have the opportunity to realize my dreams. You know, my dad wanted me to be a logger.
Which
like
makes
him.
sense from where you're growing up.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's remarkable too, because not that you didn't have challenges. Your mom, of course, making sure you get to dance lessons in Boise and the long drives and everything, but you do find yourself in Hollywood, and really quickly there are other angels. We're talking in the early 50s, early mid 50s. Other people start to pop up that really help you along. Again, not that you didn't have challenges and not that it was easy, but you seem to just have these great serendipitous moments of meeting people that will get you to the next level.
It just seemed never to stop. And it was from the moment we had realized that a collection of classes at the studio, we didn't have enough money to pay for the whole thing.
Yeah.
So my dad said, well, then maybe you should stay 2 weeks, you know, and then we walked down the street and I saw that there's a placard with saying Gene Nelson teaching tap and jazz, and I went and said, Mom, let's go in this studio.
Yeah.
Because he was already an idol of mine. So we went in, and the owner of the studio was Nico Charisse. And right away he sussed out a situation, and he gave me a ballet scholarship for the month. And then he said, all you have to do is pay my guest teachers. And we still didn't have enough money.
Yeah.
So my mother and I were just going to lunch. We went across the street to the Al Rexall drugstore, Beverly and La Cienega, and we walked in, and there was a sign saying waitress needed. And my mom walked up and got the job as a waitress, and that's how we were able to afford the entire month.
And you're becoming an educated dancer, and you're learning from the best, really in the 50s at the height of the big lavish musicals. This is in color, this is fantastic. And I gotta say, for people that may not recognize some of the names, but this impressed me that your first TV gig was with Jack Benny on his show. If you had a Mount Rushmore of comedians of the 20th century, he could arguably be on it. I mean, that's stepping up into some very high-level areas of entertainment for your first show.
Yeah, well, Gene Nelson sent me there.
Yeah.
And to audition for his wife, Miriam Nelson, who was choreographing the show.
Yeah.
So I went there and I auditioned and got the job.
Just some of the people that you taught, worked with, helped, looking at some of the people. You get into the 60s, you taught, in no particular order, you taught the legendary Frank Sinatra how to do a 60s era dance for Marriage on the Rocks. You worked and helped Gene Simmons, the superb actress in Elmer Gantry. Elvis, let's talk about him.
Well, Elvis, and I loved Elvis. Elvis was, obviously a mega star. We all know that. But he's the kindest, most respectful, polite person of that level that I've ever met.
One of the other people you worked with who fortunately is still with us is Anne Margaret. And I bring that up for a number of reasons, but I don't think I ever saw anybody have better chemistry with him than her in Viva Las Vegas. Do you see that up close?
We felt it. I mean, it was electric.
Yeah.
They were definitely attracted to each other.
Hey, what a pleasure to have you on. This is the book, folks, right here, Can't Stop Dancing. He has not stopped dancing. I think we almost had him dance, but he said he'd agree to sit down for this interview. Mr. James Hibbert, who now makes Okanagan Falls his home for some time, right?
Yeah. We just, in this last December, we sold our North Vancouver home of many, many years, and we moved in with my son.
Yeah.
He bought half the property, and we bought half the property. And we have a beautiful place up there in the mountains over the lake.
Fantastic. Well done. Hey, thank you to James. Book's available right here, folks. Thanks to Ben at Bear Manor Media for bringing us together. Wonderful to have you, sir. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you, James. I really enjoyed it.
This wine moment is brought to you by Grupo Peñaflor, the leading Argentinian wine supplier in Canada.
Well, I'm super excited to be here with Facundo Vidal. He is the Sales and Operations Manager for Grupo Peñaflor. You're going to tell us about this great history. This is over 100-year-old wine group. Tell us all about the history.
Well, nice to meet you. I'm happy to be here. It's a pleasure. Yes, as you're right, Grupo Peñaflor is the leading wine company in Argentina, one of the top 10 suppliers in the world. We are honestly the #1 Malbec producer in Argentina, and our strength lies in the diversity of terroirs we are exploring within the group across all provinces in Argentina. Our scale in production and our commitment to quality makes us stand out from entry-level wines to higher-end wines.
Well, you certainly stand out because you're the leading Argentinian wine supplier in Canada. We've definitely noticed you. It's approachable wine, it's high-end wine. So let's talk about what you've brought to us today. In fact, the white that you have brought here today is an exclusive to the BC liquor stores now, and we're super excited to learn about a little bit more about this particular white wine.
Well, Grupo Peñaflor owns a lot of wineries in Argentina. One that is well known is Navarro Correas. Navarro Correas try to merge tradition with innovation. It has a legacy started in the 19th century.
Wow.
So yes, a lot of time ago. And this wine is a tribute to Don Edmundo. Navarro Correas is a pioneer in Argentina for higher-end wines, and is the well-known of being a sparkling producer in Argentina.
Oh, wonderful. I am going to taste that while you're talking a little bit about that, because I'm super excited. It is a Chardonnay.
Yes, but it's a little bit different. It's not your light, neutral Chardonnay. This is for people who loves freshness, who loves flavor, oak, and extractor.
Ooh, so many people are going away, so many wineries are going away from the oak. That is beautifully oaked, and I can imagine all that. What would you pair this with?
Well, this is perfect for dishes with a little bit of texture and fat, like for example roasted chicken, some salmon or pasta or seafood with a butter sauce. That, for me, that's...
Or just sitting on the patio drinking that.
Exactly.
That is delicious.
For,
All right, let's jump into the second one.
Well, the second one is for the winery Trapiche. Trapiche, it's a winery from the group founded in 1883.
Wow.
So a lot of time ago.
Oh, yeah,
And
some history.
the winery itself tried to express the diversity of terroirs we have in Argentina. The core of Trapiche is exploring all the different terroirs we have. And this Trapiche Malbec particularly is like, we can call it our wine ambassador, because it represents what we are and what we stand for. It's a Malbec. You are going to start, if you try it, you are going to feel the ripe plum, blackberries. You are going to see subtle notes of vanilla and oak. This is a really well-balanced wine for every day. I mean, in Argentina, we used to make great asados, and this is a perfect wine for that, and also for an everyday meal.
Terrific. We got a few minutes left, so we want to cover this next two. Let's start with this one.
So let me take you into a journey to Salta, that is far north in Argentina. It's where the Calchaquí valleys are. That place is a remote and extreme place because you are going to find poor alluvial soils, you're going to find low humidity, high pressure on sunlight, and wide differences between temperature. So that's how these extreme conditions are great for performing these wines, because they are full of personality.
Nice.
So El Esteco, the vineyards are found at 1,800 meters above the sea level, so that's are the conditions there. And the Malbec, it's really powerful because you are going to feel exactly the same characteristic of a Malbec, but you are going to see an elegant finish, more round in the mouth, sweet tannins, and it's really a good wine for pairing with more overcooked dishes, red meat.
All right. And lastly, the cab.
And lastly, the cab, but not least.
No, definitely not.
The Cabernet Sauvignon, it's an excellent option. I mean, we cannot compare it with the Malbec for sure. What I can tell you is that given this extreme condition, the winemaking process is so important here. So 70% of these wines, the Malbec and the Cab too, are made in barrels, and the other 30% is made in a stainless steel tank to keep the freshness, to keep the flavor of the fruit. So that's important. So in this cab, you are going to start feeling the pepper a little bit more, the oak. You're going to feel that the wine is a little bit more structured and has a really well elegant finish. It invites you to another sip.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, delicious wines, all available here in BC,
Exactly.
Across Canada. We're excited to try them. Maybe some people will make these their new favorites for summer, and definitely for pairing with all kinds of different food.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Facundo Vidal, the Sales and Operations Manager for Grupo Peñaflor. Thanks for joining us today.
Same for you.
This wine moment was brought to you by Grupo Peñaflor, the world's leading Malbec producer. This segment is brought to you by the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan, Canada's #1 employee benefits plan, protecting Canadian firms for over 40 years.
Well, our insurance expert is back to join us again for another segment of information. He is Ramon Salinas. We're looking right here now. He is the Regional Marketing Director for Chambers Plan, BC and Yukon. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
You're quite welcome, sir. I'm excited today about this topic. Not that all your subjects aren't important, but this one is really important, I think, because it's mental health, and people see mental health on the news, but it's always that area of mental health. But we're going to talk about, I don't want to say a lesser mental health, because that's not the phrase, but that people may not think is in the mental health category, but it's something that your company is trying to help employers with. I want to say this stat that you sent me, which shocked me. Recent report from the Canadian Psychological Association estimates at least 500,000 Canadians miss work due to mental illness every week. It's an estimated $50 billion annually, mostly because of absenteeism and something I'd never heard of until you told me this yesterday, presenteeism.
Yes.
Explain.
Okay. Well, absenteeism is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to miss work due to an injury, illness, or, in this case, mental health. Presenteeism is when, despite what's going on in their lives, they're showing up to the office or showing up to the work site, but they're not there. They're not productive. They're not effective. Their mind could be elsewhere, and that really doesn't help. So there's, again, lots of money. It's hard to quantify, but lots of money being lost in that, in just the lower productivity of the employee.
It's interesting because you guys have really set up, and I said to you that COVID and the lockdown maybe accelerated the technology part of this discussion today, but you guys have set up a number of things that can really help employees through the employer. I want to ask you about EAP. What is that?
Yeah, of course. So EAP, we have a great EAP program, and it's very affordable for the employer. It runs roughly $6 a month per employee. And this is on top of the traditional benefits that you would see on a plan with the dentist, but even within the mental health realm.
Okay.
A traditional benefit plan would have some money to see a registered psychologist. But therein again comes back the stigma of it, because you think, okay, well, I have to go to the doctor and then get referred to a psychologist and a diagnosis, and there's a whole, people might not be comfortable with that. The whole thought of going in and laying on the couch and talking to a shrink or whatnot. So the EAP offers 12 hours of counseling for an employee, but it doesn't have to be necessarily an official mental health diagnosis. This is something that could be, it could be marital problems, financial stresses, stresses finding childcare, anxiety, depression, and they can just phone in, and then it's up to them. There'll be an intake, and from there they will match them and try to find a counselor or a therapist that would suit them. And the employee can then also choose if they want to go for a face-to-face meeting, do something through virtual, or just even a phone call. So it does really give that option. And again, for 12 hours a year of counseling for the $6 a month, I mean, that's...
and not to mention the benefits, as we said off the top, about what that does for the employee and the employer. Again, this is talking about the acceleration of the technological angle to this whole thing. Let's talk about the Teladoc Mental Health Navigator.
Yes. Okay. So Teladoc, a great partner of Chambers Plan, and this Teladoc Mental Health Navigator, there's no charge for that with Chambers Plan. That is embedded right into all of our extended healthcare programs.
Excellent.
And this is a concierge style service that pairs members that are diagnosed with a mental health condition, and they'll pair them with an expert or a psychologist who are going to review the existing diagnosis and then come up and work with that patient to find a good a good plan. And it's for members who maybe they're trying to deal with a mental illness but not really seeing any improvement in their current case, so they can phone in, and really helps the employee navigate through the system and know what resources are available and where they are, and make sure they're getting paired with the right help that's going to be beneficial.
Is this the right way to say this? But what I like about this too is that there's almost like different levels. You said if someone's calling up not knowing that there may be something wrong, to somebody saying, I know there's something wrong, this can help navigate that employee to that different level, I guess I would say. Right?
You got that. You got exactly right. That they'll pair it off and figure out what the best path of help for them is.
I like the sounds of this MyStrength digital self-care app.
And again, here we're back to the technology, and this once again is provided by our great partner Teladoc. No charge again for this one. It's embedded into all of our extended health plans, and the technology, the platform now. It's a digital app that has some evidence-based solutions, and again, it's for the employee that is just looking, and again, it could be any of those stresses. It could be childcare stresses, maybe elder care. They're caring for aging parents. They're not sure how to transition them into care homes or what resources are available. Anxiety, depression, whatever the case is. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a diagnosis. They can go into the app, and there are some specific digital tools that are going to help them out with that. So again, as we're talking about, you mentioned earlier about different levels and stepping
yeah.
in. So this is a way of maybe stepping in and getting in and getting some preliminary resources, almost like an early intervention into the mental health before things get out of hand.
Just as we wrap things up, one of the things, consistent elements of your segments is it's not being in a lecturing type tone, but it's that employers sometimes don't look at the long game. And their first reaction is, no, I can't afford that. But what are you losing out on when you do have someone that may be there, bless them, with presenteeism, or if they're not there because they're just physically not in the office? This seems like, you know what, because it isn't that expensive and the payoffs are long-term.
Payoffs are long-term. And that was the goal when the Chamber's plan looked at this and partnered with Teladoc and implemented these programs, was to say, we want to offer mental health support tools that it's not going to cost the business too much, but the benefits are going to be huge. I mean, if, you know, the $50 billion that are lost, if you can reduce that absenteeism and reduce that presenteeism in the workplace, I mean, that's going to save the employer money. Employees are going to be more productive, so it's good for the business owner.
Yeah.
But it's also the right thing to do because you're helping out. You're going to have a healthier, happier workforce as well.
And as you've said many times, in this day and age, people aren't just looking for a great salary.
That's right. Yeah. Benefits and the breadth and the comprehensive benefits are really a huge factor in attracting and retaining employees. And the mental health support here it's just a wonderful tool for that as well.
Where can people find out more information?
Well, they can go to our website, chamberplan.ca.
Excellent. Hey, he is our insurance expert here. He is also the Regional Marketing Director for Chambers Plan BC Yukon. Over 20 years experience, and we got him just before he maybe jets off somewhere nice. We hope you enjoy that, my friend, and we will talk to you again later this summer. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
This segment was brought to you by the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan. More than 30,000 small to mid-sized businesses choose the Chambers Plan to protect their employees.
Closed captioning and other promotional considerations provided by Hamilton High Street Senior Residence, Richmond's newest senior living community.
While we're here on Granville Island, right behind me is Ron Basford Park, where we started the show.
And it is time to end the show. Before we go, don't forget any questions or comments or ideas. It's info@ourcitytonighttv.com.
Yes, and you can check out past episodes on our fairly new website, ourcitytonighttv.com, as well as our newest podcast.
Yeah, check out the podcast. A lot of great stuff. Podcast number 4 will be up now. Anyway, from Granville Island, I'm Jim Gordon.
I'm Lita Leapins.
We'll see you on the next episode of Our City Tonight.
You can contact us and watch past episodes at ourcitytonighttv.com. The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.